Good evening. We'd like to begin our March meeting with the pledge to the flag, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, assuming everyone's had a chance to go over the minutes and operating statements for February, I'd like to have a motion to approve if they're satisfactory for everybody.
I'll make a motion that we approve the February operating statements, February 26, 24 council meeting minutes, March 11, 2024 work session minutes, and Quantum's financial statements for February 2024.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay. Okay, moving right along to mayor's report. I have just give Dawn my report here this evening. We did have a very successful, I think, Carroll County chapter meeting the other Thursday night down in Westminster, one of the largest ones we've had for a long while. They did have the president of MML there and a couple people from the staff. And then the next day, there were two of them that came up, and we took a tour of Lehigh. John was very, very excited about it. He said that grown man didn't know the difference between cement and concrete. He does now, because I explained all that to him and how the process was out there and the amount of stuff that goes in and out of Lehigh every day. So he was very impressed. We did stop out at a vintage restoration, because I know he's a car buff, and he looked at some of the antique cars out there and stuff, so he was really, really surprised by that, and he says that he plans on coming back to Union Bridge one day and doing some more touring. Wants to go to the railroad station and do some more touring around town when he has time, because that day he was here, left here, went to Mount Airy and then Sykesville, and then he had to go back to Glen Arden where he lives. So it was a full day for him, so he was very happy with that. So we'll get him back here one day. John has gone to 124 of the municipalities, which is 157. So he's visited 124, which that's a good thing, because the year that I was president, I planned on going to all of them too, but it was COVID and you couldn't go anywhere. So I give him a lot of credit. It takes a lot of time to do that. And then Dawn will have the rest of my report. This time, I'd like to introduce our budget for FY 24-25. It's just a proposed budget. The council and everybody, Dawn's worked on this. We've had several meetings, and this time it'd be proposed budget, introduction to proposed budget ordinance number 319-A for fiscal year 24-25. The proposed town budget for expenditures and revenue is $1,174,714. The town tax rate is proposed to remain at 35 cents per $100 of full value assessment of property in the town of Union Bridge. The town personal property tax rate is proposed to remain at 75 cents per $100 assessed value. Copies of the proposed budget are available for review between 8 a.m. and 4:30 at the town office. There will be a public hearing to consider comments and questions from interested citizens regarding the proposed 24-25 fiscal year operating budget on April the 22nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. in this room. For any additional information, contact the town clerk at 410-775-2711. So that is what we're proposing for next year. And that's about all that I have right now. We're going to go to Mandy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's that time of year again for the capital improvement program for fiscal years of 2025 through 2030. As the mayor and town council know, that this adoption of the program is looking at the best interest of the town, and it usually provides a very useful guide for planning and budgeting, as Mayor just discussed. And it goes out for a few years to show, what the town is looking at, what projects the town is looking at, and this is something that Dawn and Mr. Cooman spend a great deal of time in coming up with and developing and seeing what projects the town needs to focus on. This was introduced to the planning and zoning last Thursday, which they signed their resolution last week. And this is coming to the town for introduction today. And of course, going forward, it would be a public hearing for next meeting. It would be held there so that anybody can come in during this, from here until the next meeting, and they can come in and have any questions about the capital improvement plan going forward. And at that point, then the town would sign the resolution as they do with most. A couple of things that are noteworthy in the capital improvement program is that based on, looking at the town revenue, income, and essentially debt to income, and the projects that the town wants to focus on, is that I think that the town would like to proceed strictly on a pay-go basis, which meaning that we want to get grants secured before we initiate kind of spending any of the town's money going forward on these large projects. I mean, if you've noticed over the past couple of years, at least since I've been in here, the town has spent a lot of money and time in big projects. It just seems everything has just come all at once that needs to be done. One of the things that we have talked about over the last couple of years is the purchase of the land for the wastewater treatment plant. Looking at the CIP, right now there have been funds budgeted that we could purchase 6 of the 12.2 acres at this time. It's recommended that in the land bank with the CIP that we put funding for the next 2 years to be able to purchase the full 12.2 acres, and that way it gives us a year left in between when our agreement is up, so that way we can look at site planning and all of that going forward. So that's one of the main things that are on here that I wanted to bring your attention to. The I&I study has moved forward. I know that has been a big thing that's been on the CIP for the past couple years. And then another thing is that Ned and Dawn discussed was the remediation program for the drinking water. And that kind of goes with what we have discussed in the litigation for the municipalities. So, this is something that's going to be an issue kind of going forward, and we're hoping that MDE, will award more loans and grants and things like that. And also that once this litigation is completed, that the town will also get money through that litigation at some point that will help with that remediation process. Because, even with a new wastewater treatment plant and everything like that, we're still gonna have that. That's in the ground. They're not gonna leave, so we have to come up with something, because there's going to be, the EPA is gonna put limits on this. Eventually, it's coming. I've heard talk of it, that they're going to put limits, and they're gonna start, coming into the towns and saying, okay, we need to do something, and if you don't do something, we're gonna be fining them. So, just to keep that in mind. So I have resolution 0124 to be introduced tonight.
Okay.
And then it also has on here the cell tower update, which we have signed everything that we need to sign. I have actually FedExed the original copy of the agreement that was signed at the last meeting, and I have not received the original back. And until we receive the original, or at least a copy of that, I have told Mike Reynolds to not proceed on any of the permits until we receive that agreement back.
Right. Okay.
And that's all for me.
Okay, thank you. So our resolution has been introduced, resolution 01-24, and we'll discuss that next meeting. Okay, we're down to Kevin, and he called and said, our deputy said he was at the hospital for emergency petition. He was going to try to make it, but he didn't know how long they were going to keep him tied up at the hospital with the patient, so.
But we have his report.
but we do have a report that's can give to Dawn and it'll be on file. Unless you decide you want to read it all, that's up to you. Okay, we're down to public comments and concerns. Bob has to look at Kim and see if there's any comments. Okay, all right. Okay. All right, we're going to go on down to committee reports. We're rolling right along here. See Sherry.
Okay, February 26th, I attended the council meeting. On February 28th, I had one trash issue on Benedum Street, and I met with both of those homeowners because it was kind of like in between two homes, and told them what the trash company had said, and they were going to leave the rest of the items in a box out there for the following week's pickup. So that's all been resolved, and I diffused that situation because at first the gentleman wanted to be a little testy, but then he was fine. I did report a light problem on 308 East Broadway Street on February 29th. On March 11th, I attended the work session. March 14th, I attended the MML dinner meeting. On March 23rd, I attended the Dream Big Union Bridge Easter egg hunt. Due to rain, it was held indoors at the Union Bridge Church of the Brethren, and they partnered up with the church and had a wonderful event with the Easter egg hunt, crafts for the kids, free lunch, and photos with the Easter Bunny. 32524 was notified of a trash situation on Benedum Street, and we are addressing it. Dawn sent a letter out to the homeowner today, and that's all I have.
How'd your Easter egg hunt turn out?
We had 45 kids show up, so it was great. It was great.
And I say compared to the weather, that's really good.
Yeah, because we didn't want to postpone it.
Yeah,
So it worked out really well.
that's great, good. Okay, Ellen.
I had discussions with Mike Reynolds during the month about the community center grants status and wish list of things for the community center. Discussions in text with Steve Stambaugh about the work he's doing up at the community center. If you get a chance to go by and see the nice mulching that he's done up there, it looks really nice. I'm still working on ironing out a few issues on the MOU with TLB. I attended the Carroll County chapter meeting for MML and reported on the Engagement and Outreach Committee, asking for anyone who wanted to help read the essays. And I received an email from West Carroll League about using the fields, but we'd already talked to TLB, and basically we've given them permission, just waiting on the final irons to be ironed out, which should be done before the next month. So I sent an email back to them, letting them know that we're working on an MOU with Town Lions Baseball, and that if they wanted to send us when they wanted to use the field, I'd talk with them and see if they were available then. Because since we were working on the MOU already with them, I didn't want to say, oh, well, we didn't finish it, so we're going to give somebody else the ball fields. At our Lions Club meeting, they had a question about the drug awareness program that we used to do through the town and that they used to give donations to, and what was going on with that. So I told them I would bring it up at the next meeting and see what anybody had to say about it, whether that's something that's going to happen again or whether that's kind of dead in the water.
Something we'll discuss.
Okay.
Takes a lot of work.
Yep, and I spoke with Laura and Mike concerning junk vehicles, junket houses, and parking. I also went on that tour and braved the heights, because I don't do heights, but it was very interesting. That's all I have.
Okay. Brett?
Hey, don't have much. Mike's preparing an RFP for engineering services for the wastewater, the new wastewater plant. I can't say an upgrade because it will be a new one. MDE requires that we competitively bid the engineering services for that, so we can't just select GHD.
Right.
So that'll be going out maybe as soon as next week. We're still working on the lead service line issue, really trying to just determine exactly what MDE and the EPA is requiring us to do to identify these lines. Dawn put together a letter that I did not get to read today, but to send to the residents, so we'll work together on that. And I'm sure it's fine, but I haven't read it yet. But I'm not entirely sure that having the residents identify their service line will be enough. I still need to sort that out. There's so many articles when you go to MD's website on lead service line identification and what you need to do after you identify them, and they update. And the latest one I had, just reading the literature just doesn't read like it's going to be good enough, that we may have to do it ourselves. And it reads like we have to do it from the main all the way to the house, which wasn't what I had read earlier. So we're still working on that. That's just a monumental task, and I really feel like telling the EPA that we're not going to do it. We can't. I'm not even sure that we can accomplish this in the time frame that they gave us, and if we have to test pit every single line to determine what is there, and that still doesn't, lines could be segmented. They could be we know that all the lines entering and leaving the meter pits are copper. We know that because we replaced everything some years ago. But we don't know what's next, and we really don't know what's before. It's probably a lot of galvanized service lines, coming up from the main. But I don't know that for sure. Pretty certain there isn't any lead. Mike has never encountered any lead on any leaks he's fixed in town, and he's fixed leaks all over this town. And so that's encouraging, but it's hearsay. So that's not good enough. So we're working on that. The PFAS, we're still working on that too. We have to put out an RFP for engineering services for that, but they changed it. They were going to require us to do a pilot test. Now they're saying we don't have to do a pilot test, which is good. So we're still working on that as well. That's all I got.
Okay. Laura?
On February 27th, Dawn and I met with Richard Turner and Bob Blueball from Carroll Media Center regarding getting Town Hall connected for live stream of meetings. On March 3rd, I submitted a request for a PIA for the month of February. On March 11th, I reviewed the PIA and messaged Master Deputy McGinnis for clarification for a previous nuisance violation. On March 11th, I reached out to Commissioner Joe Vigliotti regarding getting fiber extended to Town Hall from the fire department. On March 11th, I attended the work session meeting. On March 12th, I contacted a resident about a parking ticket. And on March 12th, I also contacted the electrician for the town to see about getting an estimate for additional power for Town Square and for Christmas lights across from flood zone, to make sure I was connected. On March 14th, I registered for National Night Out and attended the MML dinner. And on the 15th, I spoke to Master Deputy McGinnis regarding several police incidents in town. And that's all I have.
Okay. Amy?
I have attended all meetings for the town and the planning and zoning meeting where we continue to go through, work on, and review the county plan. We learned from the Carroll County planner, Randolph Mitchell, that water and sewer amendments are coming into the county. The annual report is underway and the housing study is underway. He gave us a handout for that, and they would like to come to breakfast and to the carnival to inform the public, just so everybody knows that. That's it.
Tell them they only have April and May yet for this year, and they would wait till October then after that.
Right. Will do.
Okay. If we don't have anything else, I'm happy to say that, in 2 more weeks, the legislative session will be over for this year. It's been very trying. Ever since January, we have a meeting every Wednesday, virtually, except for one time. So it's been trying this year with all the bills. It's a little over, it's like 2,700 bills introduced this year, and The league has made a position on 100 and couple of the bills and with some amendments to them, and has been so far successful, but there's still time for a lot of things to happen between now and the final night. The last day of session, there's so many deals going on down there that I wouldn't want to say what's going to happen. It's going to be some good deals and some bad deals, and we're going to be the ones that's going to pay for them, but it's just next 2 weeks is going to be very trying, so. And then next Saturday, the end of April will be the final Board of Directors meeting until conference in June, so we do have that in Annapolis at the new office. No one's been there yet. We moved from West Street down to the State Circle. They sold the building on West Street, went down to the State Circle. They're leasing a building down there. They're on the 4th floor, and it is very, very nice. It's a lot smaller, but they have people that are working at home now, and they only come into the office, maybe one day a week or something when they have to do things in the office, and the rest of them are working from home. It makes more sense because we're right at State Circle. Want to go across the street and testify on the bill, we can walk from there over and testify on the bill. So it works out well so far for us, and I think it's going to be more convenient for us and save us a lot of money in the long run because they got a really good price for the building that was sold, and it's just going to work out for MML. So they sent the information out about the summer conference this year. I don't know what's going on with some of the hotel reservations. They say it's going to be easier, it's going to be nicer, and from what I've seen, I think it's not going to be any better than it was before. Hotel and motel bills have gone up considerably this year down there, but we'll make the best of it. They have some really good sessions for this year. We'll just go from there, and everybody can go down and go to the conference and learn something. Hopefully every year they have new things about public information and ethics. So if you haven't had an ethics or public information for a while, you might want to try to get in on one of them or see it online, because ethics and public information changes every year. If there's going to be a little bit of word here or there, and today's society, you're just covering your butt. You really have to be very careful what you do, what you say, because there's always somebody out there that's going to try to get you, and it's almost pathetic. But us as public officials, just make sure you get a chance to. If you can't go to one of them, they're going to have it online again. I think this year for some of the meetings, go online and check it out, because it's very trying. It makes you want to say, why do we do this for the little bit of money we get? But we do it because we love our town, not for the pay. And that's about it that I have. You have anything, Dawn? You haven't missed anything? I don't know of anything else. I guess we're in line for adjournment if nobody has anything.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the
Well,
meeting.
our next work session meeting will be April the 8th. Our next council meeting will be April the 22nd.
All right.
Okay?
Can I adjourn it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I make a motion we adjourn the meeting.
Second that.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye? Aye. Noes? Thank you very much, and we'll see you next month.